hmm
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Courtney.
It's all moving into Cancer. So I think I hit you at your heartstrings.
Yes. Yes, you sure did, which is,
What
it's good.
wasn't planning on it, but I love you, Phil.
hmm I love you.
Anyway, I'm so grateful to be here with you. It's Monday and we had a scorpionic weekend and we're moving towards a very full moon and energy is we're awake. Maybe we're a little loony. Maybe we feel a little like a lunatic.
hmm Well, I'm hoping that because it's a Sag moon, that there'll be some wisdom imparted to us, either together or individually.
Yeah. Well, I do. I actually appreciate the energy of the full moon because what I think it is that it is wisdom. It's like, what do we need to see so we could then let go of things? I love full moons. And I'll say maybe, I always think sometimes how the word lunatic is maybe sometimes people that are the lunatics, maybe they're the most sane, right? Like, I always think like, how we choose to see things. And a lot of times people that people say are crazy are actually people that say things that are different than how everyone else is saying them. So sometimes I do feel like a little bit of a lunatic and I'm a little different than other people, which it's good. Being different's
It
good.
is good. It is good.
So hopefully they won't cart me away. I always say, don't cart me away yet.
Well, you know that you're in a very, you're in a position that's away from the pack, which gives you a very, individual perspective and one that is not commonly shared. But the commonly shared ideas are the easy things to think about. And it's for many people, I think it's easier just not to think about too much, not really think about the truth that you you are a part of the cosmos. You are a thinking, breathing part of everything. That's a hard concept to retain for me. But a lot of people just dismiss that completely. They just completely shut down. They don't even consider the possibility that they're deeply connected to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so interesting about wisdom and how you said with the full moon, I hope that that wisdom comes. And I think that is what you're talking about is that that's faith, right? Is that we're all connected to something connected to each other, connected to the planets and the universe. And I think it is too hard to question the truth. I mean, I do think you're right. Because I think what we learn if you do choose to question it, it doesn't stop. It's like this never ending road. Sometimes it's just easier to not question.
Right? Because your whole perspective changes. And these are not ideas or beliefs that were taught in school. In fact, I think we're pressured not to believe in them because it's outside traditional ideas,
But that's so interesting because I
modern
actually
ideas, I would say.
this weekend I was reading something and it was from C.S. Lewis. So I really wasn't reading it, but I was like I went down this little bit of a I go down these rabbit holes and it was like C.S. Lewis and it was 1948 and he was saying how the education system doesn't want you to be a thinker.
That's right.
1948. I mean, and Rudolf Steiner, and I think it was 1920s, talked about that. So it's been a conversation forever. We're really not
Yes.
taught to think.
Right. We're pressured to conform. That's what I think. And I think schools are set up to pressure us to conform.
Yeah, well, life is, right? If you want to go to this company and work in this
Yeah,
company,
right.
yeah, I could never conform. I always said the best thing I think that ever happened to me in school is that I didn't hear one thing. I was like, la, 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 la. He was like, didn't you learn that in school? Like, I don't think I learned anything in school. I don't really, I was completely in la la land.
Yeah, I did a lot of daydreaming at my desk at school.
Yeah, I think the creative people do. It's my daughter used to do all these googly things and she would draw all these pictures. And I think in a way, maybe we're so intuitive that we're protecting ourselves from what we don't need to know.
Hmm.
Because now I'm a really good learner. So I don't know if I don't daydream as much anymore. I mean, I still daydream, but I'm a really good learner now.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think it's because you are pursuing things that really interest you, so you're excited about those things. I mean, I know that's the way I feel about what I'm learning now.
I was
It's a pleasurable thing to do.
I was watching do you like Joan? I love Joan Rivers. Do you like Joan Rivers?
Yeah,
So I
she's
was
wonderful.
watching some kind of like tribute on her, and I have like paper. I was wondering because you have a lot of Gemini energy, but I was wondering, I have papers everywhere, 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 and I write all these notes. And she has literally papers everywhere, and she had file cabinets of all her jokes. And I was like, oh my God, I love her. And I think she had a very strong Gemini energy personality.
She was a Gemini, and you must have seen the documentary. They did a
But
documentary
this
called
was different. I have to
okay.
rewatch that, but I have to rewatch that. This was like a tribute to her. They were raising money for, it was like on NBC and they were raising money for her for some program in New York, like for a food delivery program that she believed.
Oh wow. Yeah, because in the documentary, you can see the filing cabinet. She goes through and talks about how she organizes all the jokes. And she had her desk calendar that she carried everywhere. And she's talking about how she does it all old school. So she'll put little post-its in there
That's
and
what I do.
things out and you
That's what
know.
I do. That's so interesting. What a game changer. It's so interesting just because I have been really finding a lot of people with like Aries energy too. And she had an Aries ascendant. And she just was such a pioneer and such a game changer. And she changed comedy and she changed what it was to be a woman. And she
Mhm.
changed, I don't know,
Yeah.
a
And
lot.
there was an intelligence that shone through with her too, I think. She was just witty and she was fast and
And
yeah.
quick.
And a New Yorker, which
And
I
a New
really
York and a
loved.
New Yorker and Jewish and very funny about being Jewish and
Hmm.
was very honest about what it was to be Jewish. I thought that was interesting. She's just
Hmm.
very, I loved her. And I meant to text you because I thought of you. I was like, just there's this brilliance about her. And that's kind of how I
Yep.
feel about you, Phil. I think you're brilliant. I think you have so much to share. And every time I hear you speak, you just light a fire in my mind. It's like you wake me up.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm working on something that I'm going to share. And I think I told you about it. Uh, you know, how to bring the planets into the body and use that energy in a really healthy and productive way. So I'm like you, I'm digging into my books and doing research, and it doesn't seem at all dry or like homework to me because I feel like I'm, like Sherlock Holmes with my spyglass, searching and trying to connect the dots. It's fun.
Yeah, and getting more and more information, and then it changes, right? Like it's never the same, and it just keeps moving forward because we're what I think so interesting is we're not stagnant because it's always shifting and always moving. And so when you ever notice you just pick up the right book or the right information, and right when you need it, it's like the more information comes.
Yep. And you have those little light bulb moments,
Yeah.
which they're, yeah, that, that's that's what I get excited about, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I think I will forever be learning when it comes to this concept. And I think there is we're 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 really being meant to question it all and keep on moving forward with it too. So it's really it's beautiful. So I'm so grateful you're doing that. And I'm so grateful that you're doing it now, especially just because of how I know your chart. Okay, so wait, let's see if I can open. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let's open it up. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. So let me ask you a question. I have a question for you. I keep on thinking that we're supposed to have, do you like it with the little aspects in it, or do you prefer not having the aspects?
Either way is fine.
Okay, so I guess we'll try it today with the aspects and see what happens. So we're today, it's Monday, and it's Moon's Day. So I'm always so grateful because we spend our time, on the day of the first day. I think it's the first day of the week, and we get to be together every Monday, and then we get to share this information with people. So I'm so grateful to be here on the Moon's Day, and I am so grateful that the moon went in Sagittarius today. It feels very hopeful.
Yes.
Very hopeful. So wait, can you see the Sagittarius is down here, right here. Can you see that? Because on my screen, I can't see it.
Oh yeah, it's cut off at the bottom.
Yes. Well, I will say this is the Sagittarius moon, and it's across, wow, that it's been across from Neptune. I mean, that's so interesting to me. No.
Hmm.
Yeah. I know from Uranus. Oh, wow. Interesting. 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 I didn't even think about that. I always like look at the chart first thing in the morning, every morning when I wake up, just to see what the messages of the day, and I write a message out.
Mm.
And I didn't even realize that. Wow. Wow. It's going to be really interesting. So I will say to you, if you know what I love about the Sagittarius moon, and I think it's such a concept, is if you believed in yourself completely, if you didn't underestimate yourself, what would you do? And I think Monday is such an interesting day of like, where are you underestimating yourself as we move towards this full moon? Not you, everybody, right? Like we're all
Right.
these people and we believe, I go back to Sagittarius, what we believe might not be true.
Hmm.
Especially like
And
I
you,
was thinking, like, it might not be true. Like, how about if everything we believed wasn't true?
mhm. Right. And that if everything that you believe might not be true, then your life really becomes more of an adventure, right? And I think that the adventure archetype has a lot to do with Sagittarian energy. So how can you think about yourself as an adventurer and that life really is an adventure? And if that's the case, what would you do to step out and assume the role of adventurer?
I love that. Well, yeah, and it's the adventurer, the guru, right? And I thought that was so interesting just because what you were speaking about and how you were getting more information. And we look at the Gemini sun, right? And how it's like right there, Jupiter's still right there. And you're like, you're getting more and more information. And so then when the Sagittarius moon is full, it's how do I then take that information and then become the guru and get and mentor people and share it with people. It's just it's an interesting concept of always wanting to get more information, but not having it be so chaotic. I love that. And I think life's an adventure. It's like, what is the meaning of it all? If you know what you think you know already and you're not trying to get more information or learn, I mean, God, how boring would that be?
Yeah. But also safe. It's safer to not believe too much. That, if you really believe, then you're really stepping out and you're really letting your heart lead the way. Your heart is bypassing your mind and you're just going for it, you know, which is exhilarating. It's an exhilarating feeling to do that.
Yeah, and scary.
Hmm.
I do think it's not, yeah, that whole idea of safety. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because Jupiter is about to go into Cancer, and it's also Mercury. And so, where we feel safe, what do we feel safe with? And that feeling of safety. But okay, when you said that, we don't hit me, Phil. We could think we're being safe, but is it making us unhappy? Or is there
Hmm.
depression in that or sadness in that? Because if we're not being our highest selves and we're scared, right? We come from fear, it could hurt us. It could really hurt our hearts. It could break our hearts, literally. So is it really safe? I don't think so, actually. I think it's quite the opposite of safe.
In reality, yes, it is. Absolutely. Because you're going to atrophy if you stay safe. Your heart is going to get smaller and your breathing is going to get shallower and you're going to be overly cautious.
Yeah, I mean, I think of that shell of the turtle, right? The idea of like that Cancerian and energy of, well, if we put our shell up, we're just, are we gonna we're gonna miss so much? Are we not gonna see things, right? If we don't like stick our head out, right? Doesn't the turtle have like the head and like moves out and it's like, let me just see just a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is interesting, Phil. It's very interesting. Life is so interesting, and I think I do love that adventure. I think that is the greatest idea. How do I move this? Oh, I love that idea of the adventure. I think that's such a beautiful idea for the next couple of days is what if I went on an adventure?
Yes. Just go take a different route. Go off your beaten path a little bit, or do that thing that you've always said you would do, but you immediately gave yourself a reason not to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was thinking about, okay, perfect day, Tuesday. Tuesday. So this is Tuesday's energy. And I was thinking about I was thinking about how Jupiter's are 12-year cycles. So the last time that Jupiter was in Cancer was 12 years ago. So what if we're 2025, that would be 2013, right?
13.
So what were you doing in 2013?
Yeah, I was working a lot, traveling a lot.
Yeah. And would you do it differently? Like what would you do differently? I think it's an interesting idea of like the blocks of time. So for instance, did you ever hear of this? It's like when you have your Jupiter return. So I don't know what your Jupiter's in, but like if people have their Jupiter return, right? If you're an astrologer and you have Jupiter return, then the Jupiter return, like when you're 12 is so the first house, then you turn 12, and then you go into the second house, and then you turn 24, you go into the third house. Right. 36 is fourth house. So I think I know 48 is the fifth house. 60 is the sixth house, right?
Hmm.
72 would be the seventh house. It's just interesting. Anyway, then that's where you would focus your energy on. So based on your age. So if you're between, like, how old are you?
65.
Yeah, so you would be in the sixth house of service. So right now it's like, where do you want to put energy into being of service, to making a difference in the world, to improving the world, right? And look, you are. Look at you're doing your Jupiter very well. I love it. And how old am I? I'm 50. So that would be the fifth house. So my creativity, working on my creativity and having fun.
Mhm. Yes.
So that's a very interesting thing. I thought, oh, that's very fun. I actually had like a little note. I have like notes all over my house. And I was like, wow. I have to remember that because there's so much to remember with astrology and what matters and what's important. And I think that's kind of important. It's a good thing to remember. So, what's
Definitely.
today? So, today is Tuesday. That would be Mars's day. And so, Mars is at the end of Leo and it's trining. Oh, wow. Interesting. Look at that. Look at that. It's trining Eris. And you know, what I think of Eris, but I think Eris is really important and Chiron. That's actually really interesting. It's trining. So on Tuesday, Mars's day, that is so fascinating because I'll say to you how I see Eris is how do you be your best self and not compare yourself to where other people are? And if you are comparing yourself, where are you underestimating your own self? And then if I was underestimating myself, where would I be willing to be seen?
Right.
Pretty interesting.
I see the chart is still on Monday, Courtney.
Oh, wait. Well, that's interesting because I see it on Tuesday. So how do hmm. Okay, we'll stop share and we'll share it again. That's so funny. Thank you, because I saw it as Tuesday. Okay, how about now? You see it now as Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay,
Looks
perfect.
great.
So yeah, I was talking about Mars here and
Hmm.
then trining Eris. I do like the aspects in it. It makes it a little easier to see.
Yes, definitely.
But we're all meant to shine. I mean, I think we're all children of God, if you want to say, or the divine source. We're all very special and we're all meant to be seen. And if we're let's look at Eris. If we had rivalry or jealousy or something of like bothered about what someone else is doing, could it be actually a message for me or for us to then take action so that we could shine? I think we're at this critical point right now of stepping up and being brave and courageous.
And Jupiter's just entering Cancer on Tuesday too at 0 degrees Cancer. So I think that's going to mm, create a positive shift because Jupiter's really at home in Cancer, exalted there. So that's gonna there's gonna be wind on our back for everyone now that Jupiter's there.
I like that. Wind on our back. Yeah. It's makes me think of that song, Wind Beneath My Feet by Bette Midler. Do you remember that song?
Sure do.
Yeah, there's just so interesting though. I think the wind comes from ourselves, right? It's like my heart hurts so much because I keep on thinking about how I wish everyone knew their own divinity or their own perfection already, and that there's nothing wrong with it's funny because we were talking about lunatic, right? And that word lunatic, and as we're going towards the full moon, just the negative kind of idea when we're different than somebody else or when we don't fit in or and it's interesting. I mean, Mercury is out of bounds and I keep on thinking how I'll say to you over the next couple weeks, just being very careful with what we say because it could come across like people are very sensitive when Mercury is in Cancer a little bit, right? So the next month and our words have a way of hurting people, but also we could end up saying things that maybe we don't mean because we're almost out of bounds. We're out of awareness of our kind of could go a little bit, we could respond from an emotional way. And so if you're responding from an emotional way, take a breath before reacting.
Yes. Or count to five backwards or yeah. Do something that brings you back into balance before you say something that is not going to feel good for anybody. Because it can
Yeah.
make you, I mean, when I say things that I wish I hadn't, I, there's some satisfaction about blurting it out. It's like letting off steam, but it doesn't make me feel good. Doesn't, I regret it. It makes me, it's like getting a little you know, getting high and then coming down off of it. And you just get that rush of adrenaline and you just explode. And then you want to take it all back and you feel guilty about it afterwards.
Yeah, so if you would, yeah, not to feel guilty, right? It's this like, I think we should be careful with, listen, if I was like telling my own children, I would say just be cautious of your words. And before you react in an emotional way, just take a breath. I think there's something so important about us learning to take breaths before we speak. And I think even the wind beneath, there's a wind, right? And so we just letting the wind come through us or something. Just, I love that. A wind pushing us. But it does,
Mhm.
it feels very windy. Feels very windy. I love
And
it.
which is exciting.
It is
It's
exciting. I think we're at a very exciting time, and I don't think we have to be who we were yesterday. And so it's like I love the Jupiter word of opportunity.
yes.
Opportunity. I was I I've been talking to my daughter a lot about and everybody actually, including my husband and everyone who will hear from me, and then like my clients, is you our hearts. If how about like if Phil, like I don't know, you're going somewhere today. So I'll try this. It's so fun. So you're going someplace today. So we met a little earlier. So you're gonna go someplace. Now, wherever you go, have like intentionally walk with an open heart. So like be super like opened, move your body into people, let people see you and see how they respond differently. Because it's amazing if there's a feeling that happens when you intentionally open your heart.
Yes. Yep. And I think, we're in a vibratory field. We're vibratory entities in a vibratory field, and there's lots of vibratory things happening beyond our capacity to see or fully understand it. But just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. I mean, think about electricity or gravity. These are powerful forces that are the foundation of our reality, but we don't see them. There's lots of vibratory energy going on. We emanate this energy and we receive it. So if you can somehow bypass the mind and go to the heart and just bring your attention to your heart space and let that lead the way and be fully open, knowing that you might feel uncomfortable because it feels a little bit exposed, but you're generating so much powerful energy here that it blows all of that stuff away. And I see that energy in other people. I, I can see it. You have that. Lots of people I know have that. It's a something that it's you can't see with your eyes, but you feel it.
Yeah, I love the way you said electricity. It's like you can't see it, you don't know how it really works. And yet we light our whole house up, and can each person be a light unto each other, right? It's like it does make me think of Leo and how in right that Mars and Leo on Tuesday, just how important it is to be brave. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for seeing my heart and feeling my vibration, because I feel yours too. I feel like we create energy just by getting on the phone. So there's like this natural love that shows up because we let each other in.
Right, exactly.
So it's a open your heart. So I was like, there's a Madonna song talking about brave. Do you know that
I love
song?
that song. I love that song.
I love that song too. And I remembered, I forgot this whole story, but I just remembered this, that I was like, I think sixth grade. And I got on the stage and did dance to that song. Now must have not been so good, by the way. And which is fine. That's the whole point. Doesn't matter. Like, I think that's embarrass yourself. Just embarrass yourself. I think that is the intention of Leo, is not to take yourself so seriously and be willing to make a fool of yourself.
And
Maybe
people
that's
will love you for it. People will love you for it. They, you know, if you're less than perfect on stage, you can feel people, the audience being supportive of you. They want you to do your best. And even if it's not your best, they love you even more.
Oh, I love that. And I love that as we're going into the full moon. I think what's interesting is, well, let's change the hour. Let's say it's at, I think the full moon maybe is at 1. It will be, I think it's at 1, I think it's 1 a.m. Did it switch?
It's on June 11th now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I think it would be the full moon. Yeah, pretty much. So it'd be 1 something, but that's pretty much what the full moon will look like. So full moon will be Wednesday when we're sleeping. Actually, right? That's at our time. So I guess you in California, it would be on the 10th. Interesting enough, but full moon Wednesday. So if you have crystals, put them outside, I think under the full moon. I actually, for some reason, I started cleaning up and I haven't done my crystals in a long time. So I'm actually going to move it out and put them under this very positive, hopeful, wishes come true, right? Disney had a son in Gemini, in Sagittarius. He was a
Yes.
very Sagittarian person. What do we believe? So what are you going to do on the full moon? Maybe you should go out and dance, Bill.
Yeah, I have a, yes. I'll be doing yoga. There's a full moon yoga session I'll be doing virtually. Uh, but yeah, dancing would be a perfect activity for the full moon. Chanting, being in a drum circle, doing some kind of ritual where you set your intentions. You know, you can write them down.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about doing it on a full moon. I usually do my intentions in the new moon, but that is
That's right.
interesting because I keep on thinking about how do we know what we want if we don't know what we want? And so I'll say to you, I love the full moon because it could show you what you don't want, and then you could set your intentions for what you do want. Like once you see what it is you don't want.
Right.
And that's actually really interesting because it's squaring oh, look at that. It's squaring the nodes. So the moon, you
Oh,
see, I
yes.
actually really like that the aspect. So the moon is squaring the nodes, and I'm a very big nodal person. I believe the nodes are really important. So if it's the
So
nodes,
then be
how do you
squaring the
believe in
sun.
God? I mean, how do you believe in spirit? How do you believe? How do you believe and get rid of the matter? Like it's like if you didn't believe in the matter so much, matter like in the earth, like the idea that your problems are your problems or your situations are your situations, and you left it up to this higher power, what would you set for your intentions?
Mhm. And it's squaring the moon as well, right? So it's a grand cross, isn't that right?
Yeah, yeah. So what's your mind telling? I go back to the sun's like our identity, our thoughts, right? So what are our thoughts telling us that maybe aren't so positive? And then what emotions are coming up? And if I ask the emotions, but I didn't actually believe them, like I didn't believe them, I questioned them, like we talked about earlier, then what would I do? Like what would I write down that I want?
Right.
It's very exciting. We're really living in very exciting times.
Yeah. Big, big planetary changes. And
Yeah. And Wednesday's Mercury's day. So again, right? And I do know Mercury's out of bounds. And so it's like, listen to the emotions. I really think okay. if Sagittarius is the Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius, I don't think there's any accidents that now we're at this very perfect point of 0 0 in Cancer. And it's like Cancer's love, it's home, it's our bodies, it's how we feel. It's asking us to feel good, to feel hopeful, to let go of what we believe. I really, if I didn't believe this about myself, what would I go do? Where am I underestimating my own self?
And how can you nurture yourself and nurture others?
Yeah. Yeah. And that, the lifeguard scenario of, okay, make sure your life vest is on. Because if you don't put your life vest on and you go out to go save somebody else, you will both drown and you are not helping anybody. So go back to 8 in the morning. Well, we'll say to you, Phil, how are you at nurturing yourself? Do you take good care of yourself?
Yes, I believe I do,
Good.
but I need to do a little bit more in that department. I think I've been getting a little bit too comfortable um, as a retiree, so I get out and do more hiking, do more swimming, just pay attention more to that, which I really do think is a nurturing thing to do, but it requires some energy. It
Well,
requires,
it's so interesting. I think because all the planets were shifting, that we haven't had the energy that we needed. So I think it's good that you were maybe taking some time to rest.
yes, and adjust.
There's something about that's an adventure in itself, just not having to go do things.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the hardest things. It's probably easier to be going out. Do you ever know that? Like if you actually don't listen to your body, the universe has a way of tripping you up. So I'm glad you rested, Phil.
Hmm. Yeah, time to get back into a routine, which I've always enjoyed. So,
Yeah, but you're pretty in a good routine. I think you're being hard on yourself. Anyway, I had to go onto the big screen to say to you, I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I think that's true for everybody right now is to not be so hard on themselves, that maybe that they're exactly where they're supposed to be. Can you see a screen?
yes,
Oh, you could see what do you see?
it's June 12th.
Well, how come I don't see it? Hmm. I got so excited. Oh, I got so excited. Oh, let's see. Wait, I don't see it. How do I not see it?
Oh, you stopped sharing, so I don't see it now.
Okay, do you see it now?
I'll give it a second. There we go. I see it.
Okay. Okay, so Thursday. It's Thursday, first thing in the morning. It's Jupiter's day. We got through the full moon, and the moon is in Capricorn. So now we get to do all our hard work. We had our dreams and our gifts that came to us, and now we're ready to do the hard work. Look at that. Thursday morning. Isn't that kind of okay? How about if it's all working very divinely? And now the moon is across from Jupiter, asking us to do the hard work of our dreams and our wishes and our hopes. And that's so interesting.
Yep, Capricorn.
What
That is.
mountain are you going to climb? That's what I love for Capricorn. What mountain are you going to climb? How do you see Saturn energy? Because I'll say you're a good worker.
I think Saturn creates limitations, but limitations as structure. So structure is something that you can work from. Whereas if you didn't have structure, how do you even begin without a structure? So that could be a great ally to you if you have the structure. And by structure, I mean doing something every day at 9 o'clock. That is such an important structure to choose to incorporate into your life, to intentionally do it, as opposed to feeling obligated to do it, which is also Capricorn, but to use the powerful archetype of Capricorn to create that structure for yourself. And rather than seeing it as, an obligation, seeing it as a tool that you are using to reach the destination that you've set for yourself.
I love that. Yeah, like you want to, like, I think what you just said is so brilliant because you could see that it's squaring. And so here, this is the destination I want to get to or want to aim at. And what am I going to, what structures am I going to set up or what disciplines am I going to set up? What a great message. And to not see it as a bad thing, to see it as an opportunity, right? It's like, if I really want something, am I really willing to do the work for it?
Do you ever do this? I do it all the time, Courtney. And that is you talk about something. I talk about this thing with a lot of people, and then I talk about it some more, and then I say I'm going to do it, and I'm thinking about it some more, and I'll begin, and then I get caught in this inability to start. But if I just said to myself, every morning at 9 o'clock, without question, that's the end of the conversation. I'm not ruminating about it anymore. I'm not sharing it with anybody, asking for opinions. I'm just setting my intention and I'm going to do it. And I know when I finally get to that point where I'm actually doing it, I feel like this huge burden has been lifted. Whereas before I did it, I was feeling that, oh, I'm stepping into this huge burden. But that's not it at all. It's the opposite because I feel so relieved that I've finally taken action and the wheels are turning and I'm in my groove and I found my rhythm. And boy, oh boy, this is what I wanted to do. It took me a while to get here, but now I'm fully in.
Yeah, I have that a lot. And I think that's so interesting how you just said, you just talk and talk and talk. You're better off just keeping it like in a container almost because you're giving it away in a way, the energy. And so it's I
But
think that's a perfect word for it right now is that Jupiter opposite the moon today is boundaries. Like if you say you're going to do something and then at 9 o'clock and you commit to yourself, right? Like then you look at Saturn, right? I'm committing to myself. Here I am. I'm going to commit to myself. Now I better have my boundaries up. So now if the phone rings, I'm not going to pick up that phone because I love myself enough. That is actually what nurturing ourselves is. I love myself enough to say I'm going to do something, mean what I say and say what I mean and mean what I do. And yeah, yes, I know exactly what you're saying. And I, I'm blushing when I say I very much have been there many, 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 many times. So I'm I'm guilty of that.
but you also feel the satisfaction when you're actually doing it. Like this
Oh yeah.
huge relief and satisfaction. And I feel so great about myself that, I'm finally, the wheels are turning and I'm moving forward. And it's not at all this big deal that I was sharing with people. What do you think about this? What about that? And, you know,
Yeah.
it's funny. I do it all the time, but I always, it's so liberating to actually be in it and doing it.
Yeah. It makes me go back to thinking of how happiness, like when we're doing what we say we want to do, there's joy. And it might feel scary, right, to go and do it. But once we're doing it, there's this peace. It's joy, it's happiness, there's fulfillment. It's very it's brave, I'll say, to make sure that you set your container up and follow through. That's a good word, follow through. That's a very good Capricornian word. So I think that was great advice, Phil. So I'm so thankful. So Friday is Venus's day. Oh, Venus, the planet of love, of creativity. Where is Venus? Do you see it?
Let's see, where is she? There she is. Wait.
She's in Taurus right there.
That's right.
This is actually interesting. Do you know about this? I love Vesta. Do you know Vesta?
A little bit.
Yeah, Vesta is interesting. I mean, I like Vesta in a way because and look, it's trining the sun. Is it trining the sun? Um, no, squaring. It's squaring the sun. The Vesta's like the fire in us. There's like this flame within all of us. And so I just think that's so interesting is I'm going to ground my idea, I'm going to ground my art, and then I'm going to like go deep and have a fire within me. I think it's so perfect for you right now. If that's what you're doing now is setting up your time or to commit to yourself. It's a good time to commit to something. Ground something actually in reality. Like in some ways, what you explained was so interesting because it's Aries. Aries is like the idea comes, I talk about it, it's exciting, but now how do I move into Taurus and ground the project? And
Yeah.
use the fire in me. I mean, there's this deep fire in us all. We're just this, God, we're so bright and so light. We have so much potential. And it's sextiling. Look at that. It's sextiling Mercury.
Oh. Hmm.
So that container is really, 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 really good. What a beautiful. I'm so grateful that you're going to climb a mountain, Phil.
Okay.
Just make sure it's the right mountain, which I think we're doing. I think we're doing. Do you see anything for Friday that you want to share?
Let's see. So the moon is opposite Mercury, which moon in Capricorn, Mercury in Cancer.
Yeah. Well, Capricorn could feel so, you know, uh, you know how someone feels as if somebody is blocking them or stopping them from something, and people power over us. And so, if we feel like people are having power over us, just to notice that it's an emotion and that nobody can really have power over us. I mean, except for if you're a kid, and I'll say, if you're a kid, parents, but we could really put our boundaries up to make sure that if we don't like how someone's showing up to us and we're getting angry, I mean, I just think about like, get angry. I mean, you don't have to get angry and we blow up and we explode, but when we notice what we don't want, we can change things. So to not let people have power over you is what I would say about the when we have the moon opposite of Mercury in Cancer. Just notice the power plays with people. I always say, ask the why, like, why are they saying this to me? Like, what's their intention? Is it because they want something? Does that make sense, Phil?
Yeah, that yes. And many times they're unconscious of what they're doing. So yeah, stand up for yourself, you know.
Yeah, I think we're really meant to. You could go back to Saturn in is in Aries and Neptune. It's we're meant to stand up for ourselves because no one else is going to stand up for us. If I love myself enough, I think it's so interesting that you're talking about boundaries, but boundaries are really important. They're not loving. It's there's something about that that's important to remember is that we can have boundaries and we could really also very much love. And I actually think we could love more when we do have boundaries.
And they can assist, even though they might seem the opposite. They can be a huge assist and support because they're creating structure and a foundation.
Well,
But it requires hard work,
well,
you
if you
know?
go back to rules, like there's okay, when you're a child, I think that children need rules. I think there's a gift in rules because then when there's rules, they feel safer. And so, like rules, but when you have rules, you feel safe.
Yeah, and your world is easier to understand with rules, especially in a child's mind.
But even in our mind, if like say for instance, you say I'm going to sit down at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm going to commit to that. That's my rule. Let's call it a rule. There's something about you said it. You said it perfectly. I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't have to question it. I'm going to get my tushy right on that chair. It's like meditation. I don't do anything before I meditate. It's I once I knew it and I set the structure up, it's really what I do, and I don't even question anymore. I don't want to not do it. I could do it horribly. As long as I sit in my chair and I commit to that and I sit there and I don't have to do it anyway, but I think rules are, I think they're helpful.
Yep.
Let's move
Yeah.
on to Saturday, but rules, I mean, don't be scared of the rules. And we're going to go into Aquarius. So now Saturday morning, wow, I always think of freedom, let freedom ring. So Saturday is Saturn's day. Oh my God, I think it's so fun that we have this conversation right now because you think about that and you think about, I love astrology because it goes into energies. And so you have this rules are good because then you feel like you have freedom. So, but where are some rules, if they don't make sense, I'll say to you, question them. But some rules are really good. There's a freedom in it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Liberation for sure. Because you don't have to question, like just like you said, you don't have to question them or overthink them. They're simply rules.
Yeah. It's interesting because Saturn squaring, like, how do you see that? So Saturn is squaring on Saturday, where it's a pretty much an exact square to Jupiter. So Saturn, control,
Mhm.
and it is next to Neptune, but I think we should stick just to Saturn and stay in the sense of Saturn squaring that Cancer Jupiter.
Again, I think that Saturn can give an assist here. You know, Saturn in Aries, lots of lots of initiating energy there. And Jupiter in Cancer, I think, will allow anything that's emotionally tied to that action just to run very smoothly. Like you're going to find support in the emotion and the action of something. They're going to work together.
Wait, and look at that. That's actually interesting, right? So what you just said, right? The emotion, then the action, and then look, the moon is sextiling Saturn. So now you also have air.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and we also have Earth. Look at this. I mean, we have this this very elemental. Imagine that. Imagine if you had all the support and you had air behind. I love what you said in the beginning of the week, imagining that you have air behind you and what would it feel like? I always think of Nike, just do it. Like, Air Jordans, and he
Mhm.
just said, just do it. So it's
Make the leap. Yes.
yeah, be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave. And and the moon Pluto is, I think we're free. I think freedom comes within our own mind and how important it is for us to know we're actually free, free to be who we are, free to be whoever we are and not, I go back to needing so much acceptance from everybody because maybe the only person that has to accept ourselves is ourselves. And if we're looking for our acceptance outside of ourselves, we might be waiting a very long time.
Mhm.
And then we have Sunday till we meet again, but Sunday is the sun's day. So the sun is at 24 Gemini and it's squaring Mars. No, yeah, no, sextiling Mars.
Yep. It's squaring, no, not squaring the nodes still.
Yeah. It's interesting to think that my breath gets it's so funny because I sometimes get like messages through how I feel and my throat got really, 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 really tight. And so it's our words, right? Our words, our thinking, and you go back to those nodes and how our mind could really mess with us. And just to be careful what we believe. Just how about, I keep on thinking for this week, if everything I believed wasn't what it is, how would if I had no history and no past and I didn't have all that stuff, that baggage, and I just was here right now, present, anything and everything's possible. Freedom. I I like it better this next, but there's a coldness to that moon, right? It's like the opposite is, are people being kind of distant with me or being cold on that weekend? And it's really not personal. Everyone's just going through so much right now.
Yeah, if they're too much in their minds, then they're just not open, or they're not receptive. And that's not a fun place to be in a spin cycle in your mind. Believe me, I know.
Um, I will say to you, do everything you can to get out of your mind. Anything. Like pick up a book. Do you know the best way? I mean, I actually think the best way to get out of your mind is to open a book and actually read it and then say, am I actually reading these words? And then if I have to, like, not, how we go back to the beginning of what we said is like, in some ways we could lose ourselves and we could go into la la land. Don't. Even read a kid's book. Read anything that gets you in the present moment out of your head. Because when you're reading, if you're not understanding what you're saying, you're probably in your head. So then go back and read it. Like it's a form of meditation.
Mhm. And you could be reading, for me, I could be reading and still be stuck in my head. I'm reading, but not a word is getting through. But eventually I stop myself and I start again and I focus my attention on the words and I'm actually paying attention. Some sometimes I only have to do that once. Sometimes I have to keep going back to the beginning. And each time I do, I get stronger at focusing. And that chatter in my mind actually diminishes.
Yeah, really, it does. And it feels much better. So
Much, much better.
much better. So and I guess I could look at the end of the week and then wish that for everyone in the beginning of the week is just this idea that we're free, that the only one, in a way, the only chains we have are the chains we believe, and how much, if we don't believe that we're blocked or chained, I don't know. I feel like the wind is beneath my wings and we could fly. And that is really what the nodes are telling us, that we could fly. I mean, we really can't fly, but and we can fly. We could be our highest selves and we could be our brightest selves and we could help each other light the way. So thank you for helping me light the way, Phil.
That's an excellent description of the full moon in Sagittarius. So thank you, Courtney.
It's such
Sums it
a
up
pleasure.
beautifully.
It's just such a pleasure to know you and to spend time with you. And I'm so grateful for anyone that listens. And I hope that they allow themselves to fly. So I think it's a good time to fly.
Definitely fly. Thanks, Courtney.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.